Today I'm going to start installing my Banks Mega Ram air intake. I went with this kit because of the grid heater bolt failure that these trucks are known for. This is a 2018 6.7 liter Cummins turbo diesel. This is supposed to bypass that by completely removing that area, increasing airflow, and it plugs into all your factory wiring harnesses. You don't need an EGR delete. It plugs and plays with your factory system so you can keep everything straight legal. It's supposed to improve your airflow by like 100 plus 110% over what stock is. We're going to get into taking this thing apart. I'll do some videos, some time-lapse videos, and commentate on this, but I've never done this before. I'm going to give it a go and see what happens. I've done a lot of other projects similar to this, and I've worked on a lot of vehicles over the years, but I've never put one of these in. It'll be a first time. If you're not 6'8" like one of my subscribers, Jay, is, you got to get yourself one of these so you can work on your truck. First thing I did was take this cover off. It had 4 little bolts in it. One here, one over here. In order to get that cover off, I had to pull the dipstick first. But then that's your air intake underneath this EGR tube right here, underneath this sensor. This here is a shroud, a heat shroud that goes over your intake. And then that right there with a little QR code, that's your intake right there. That's your stock one. The grid heater bolt failure that guys are talking about online, it rusts off from the inside, falls back into your 6-cylinder, and then punctures a hole in your piston usually. Some of the guys are still having them running. But that little bolt right there, that's the problem. Little 4-cent bolt will take your $10,000 motor out. So today we're going to start breaking this down and tearing this apart here. This first heat shroud that goes on right there over that intake right there. This is held on with a 13mm bolt and a 10mm nut. So four 10mm bolts takes off this right here. Started to clear off some of the connections and parts, and you can see that intake. Everything is like millimeters, 10mm, 12mm. Clamp, little connections that you got to take off. And you just got to peel all these parts off here to get at this intake. I want to talk and commentate when I'm taking this thing apart here. On the valve cover, you'll loosen all the bolts on the top. You'll take the oil cap off and you'll remove that bracket that holds the EGR tube in, as well as the P-clamp underneath it. You will not be needing those when you go to put this thing back together. That it has a split in there, a Y. So I'll set it up. I'm going to vacuum that. Once you get everything out of the box and you look at it, you'll be able to see the size difference right away of the new intake versus the factory intake. You will need to remove the throttle body, and you'll need to take that off and put it on the new intake, and it comes with a new gasket as well. Some of these parts might be pretty tight. You'll have to use a small pry bar or something to separate them. The factory kit gives you a new gasket, and then I like to put a little grease, assembly grease on there as well. As you start digging in, you'll see these little brackets that'll have clamps that'll hold different parts in. Every one of those has got to come out in order for you to get access to that plate under there. There's a piece of foam in here. Separates the fuel line from the intake, protects it from heat. That foam's got to come out. They're in there with quick connects. You'll have to get in there with like a little pointy screwdriver or pick. All this stuff has to come out of here in order to get at this intake plate down here. Just one little piece at a time. As you start clearing stuff away, moving stuff out of your way like this here, you can disconnect that and move it down there. It'll get easier and clearer to see where you need to be. Sometimes you might have to just disconnect some of these wires to get them out of your way. Be careful when you're taking them apart as not to have the clips break on you. All right, I got the foam out that protects the fuel system from the top of the engine. And I'm guessing it protects it from wear with the wiring harnesses. So you'll go through here and you'll disconnect each one of these. And you'll peel it over here to get it out of your way so that you can access this intake plate. I'm doing a fuel filter service today, so I might just drain the fuel from that yellow valve right there. And I added a longer hose on. So I'll put a drip pan underneath and I'll just drain the fuel out into a drip pan. To drain your fuel bowl, you turn that little yellow cap counterclockwise. And then like I added on that longer hose that you see in the video. Just allows you to get it away from your axles and allows you to put a catch pan under here so that you don't have diesel fuel everywhere. Later I'll show the size hose that I use to do that. All right, next step is to take this fuel rail off. I should probably cover up some of this stuff though, I think. That's what I'm going to do next here, cover this stuff up, and then you got to take off all of this fuel rail stuff and get it out of your way so that you can prep this area for a new gasket for this new intake plate that's going on. All right, if you're still with me at this point in the video, we've got the engine harness off, we've got the old intake off, where you've got our fuel bowl drained, we've got rags over our intercooler hose, and we've got a rag over our intake port so stuff doesn't get in our engine. All right, now that you got your fuel rail removed, Banks recommends leaving the last one in place. They say loosen it and leave it there. So that's what we're gonna do. And then we just gotta get through and get all the bolts off the top of this intake manifold plate. My grid heater bolt did not break. So here's your old intake plate. Here's your old grid heater. On the back side here, there's that bolt. That gets all sooted up, corroded, breaks off, and it can fall into your engine, costing you a motor and repair. Now you see all of this, this is all fixed. You can't take this out. It's part of the intake manifold cover. Where you see your new one has twice the airflow, or more. All right, we got it all cleaned out, and we're gonna prep for the new gasket, and then we'll put the new intake manifold cover on. That top comes off. You can see your fuel filter right there. These diesel filters. I buy these off Amazon. I think they're a quality product. Your oil filter all in one kit for, I think it's like $100. It's not bad at all. Compare that to a shop price. Having your oil changed at a shop is going to cost you somewhere between $300 and $400. If you do it yourself, you can get it under 250 bucks all done by yourself. So here's our block fuel filter. Comes with a new O-ring. It's very important to put that O-ring in correctly. So that you got fuel pressure. This filter here, we'll cover this a little bit later. This is the rear fuel filter. There's actually a specific wrench for this to take this off the rear. And I'll show you that tool that I have, and I bought that off Amazon as well. When you go to take this filter out, it gets pretty nasty. You can use a Ziploc bag to keep a lot of the fuel in there, or a plastic bag and wrap it over the top and then peel it out like that. Otherwise, it's going to get pretty stinky. And that says it still has 50% of the life left. That's only, when you put it down in there, you'll feel it seat on top of, there's a little tube inside there with an O-ring. You feel it seat, and you'll actually turn this till it gets snug. And then you make sure you got your gasket on down here on the bottom. Then you can, I always take a water bottle, I cut it open and I put a little diesel in the top here. That way you don't have to prime it and the truck doesn't struggle as hard to restart for fuel. I always top this off with fuel first and then put the cover back on. All right, I got my fuel bowl topped off. All I got to do now is put the cover back on and the front fuel filter is done. This is much harder to do when you don't have the intake off. You got to use a flexible end, and you got to be real careful with pulling everything apart when the intake is on. But it is doable. I've done it twice already. But while I've got this all apart, I'm just going to do this real quick because I've got a full service I'm doing on this as well as the intake. Putting it in. As you put these back in, they supply a thread locker with the kit, and you want to put thread locker on each bolt. We're almost there. We got the fuel lines back on. 18 to 19 foot-pounds is what they recommend you torque them at. You got to pull that second stud out, put the dipstick back over the mounting bracket, then you got to go through and torque those bolts 30 foot-pounds on those. And then after we get all the wiring put back in, we'll start the monster ram install. All right, you got your gasket prepped, got your bolts prepped. We're gonna put some Loctite on these. This bolt here is going to go down through here, and they supply the tool to do it. My tip, leave these two off until the end. This will be the last part you put on, and it'll go on top of the EGR like that. Something that I didn't cover enough was the installation of the new grid heater anode. It's a long rod with a coil on it, and it will bolt up to your old factory 8mm line, and it will go. Something that I want to add to this video that we're watching, this is after the fact adding it. I've already got 4,000 miles on this. What I want to point out is that's the anode that will go down into your new ram intake, and that bolt, that screw right there, that comes up out of the anode. It's a very delicate screw. You need to use 2 wrenches, one on the bottom nut, one on the top nut when you're torquing that anode. On that, you just put some thread sealer on that thing. Screw it in there. It's got O-ring gaskets. Each one of these plugs has O-ring gaskets on there. As long as you get them snugged up, those O-rings and some thread sealer will keep them tight. But this is a mission critical part right here. You don't want to put too much torque on that anode or you will break it. So you got to be real careful when you're snugging them up. Use some thread lock. It's the best way to do it. I got really lucky. I was able to use the provided Allen extension and set the bolt down inside the intake on the 5th position, the 5th bolt position. Worked out good for me. After it's installed, there's a little clamp here. That'll go away, and there's a bracket that comes out of here that goes away. Banks sells a kit to come over here and cover your valve covers, and it's a stainless steel piece like this. But I don't have any of that fancy technology, and I still have my original EGR on here. Like I said, this all plugs in to factory wiring harnesses when you get it, so you can be 50 state street legal with it. There it is, all day Saturday. All right, everybody, I just got done installing this Banks Monster Ram air intake on here, and I'd say on a scale of 1 to hire a mechanic being a 10, I'd say this is probably a 6.5. You got to have a little bit of skill here, I think, to put this thing on, and it'll test your patience. All right, guys, we did 4,000 miles. We did a cross-country road trip. We had the Banks intake installed before we went on the trip, and I'd kept track of fuel. So I'm going to give you a quick screenshot of what the fuel numbers look like and how many miles driven on this thing. All right, it shows 4,088 miles, and it shows 296 miles. Now, that was since I did the fuel filter on the Banks intake install, which you saw in the beginning half of the video. Now, I will say these miles are 95% pulling a 10,000-pound fifth wheel travel trailer. So the fuel numbers today are going to be with pulling our fifth wheel travel trailer. And we did that for 4,000 plus miles. I'll give you the numbers here in a second.
All right, fuel used and miles driven. It's a slight improvement over my best. My best with the factory was around 13.25, and I think this showed a little over that, 13.49 to 13.48. So, and this was traveling at the speed that I felt like going at. So a lot of the times I was going 70, 75 mile an hour, sometimes 80 out west. So I think it's a vast improvement over stock. The airflow is way better. The torque on it's better. Pulling up through the mountains, it's better. Um, I think it's worth the $750 that I paid for it from Banks. I'm very happy with the product so far.